Have you seen this chart right here? Bitcoin is about to face its biggest test in years. Is it going to pass or fail? That could make or break Bitcoin. All of that and more in today's video. If you're new, welcome in. My name is Steve, and on this channel, we do it differently. We stand out from the crowd. When everyone goes left, we go right, and we base it all on the facts in the charts. So hit that subscribe button right now. You're gonna love it here, especially if you like facts, hit that subscribe button right away. What we've got in front of us is Bitcoin on the weekly. We've got some price action above, and more importantly, we have our wave trend below. Our wave trend is very simple. It's looking for inflection points in the market, and it's looking for large buying opportunities and large selling opportunities. So what we have is our range down here at the bottom, right? You can see that back in 2015, we dipped below here on this green level, which marked the bottom of the market. And then fast forward to 2018, we dipped our head below this green level right here on the wave trend, which also marked the bottom of the market. And then here we are in 2022 when Bitcoin fell below here. That's when we called the bottom of the market with a potential double bottom. Just like we had a double top in the top of the market, we potentially had a double bottom in the bottom. Now, what's not up for debate is what's happening right here. And when we break down these facts, I'm going to give my honest opinion at the end, but I wanted to break down pound for pound, move for move. And by the way, this Friday, we're going to be launching an absolute free banger of a video on our email list. Instead of putting it on YouTube, I'm going to put it free on our email list. It's going to cover all the most critical charts for March. None of those charts I'm going to show you in this video or the other videos here on YouTube. It'll be exclusive to our email list. So if you want that exclusive video so you know exactly what to expect in March, jump over here to cryptocurryuniversity.com, plug in your quick information, and then you're going to get a nice little email on Friday with a banger video that's going to help you tremendously know what's happening here in March. So go do that right now, absolutely free. Now, here we are with the wave trend. Wave trend came out of its base, right? It created this base down here at the green, and it held beautiful support on the green over the last handful of months, and then it shot up, skyrocketed towards this white line. We have this white line right now at 19. Keep in mind, down here, this green level is about negative 50, and up here at the top is positive 50. So the range is from negative 50 to 50, and we're talking about this white line, which happens to be at like 1920. The reason we have this white line is if you go all the way back to 2014, that's where we held some resistance. And if you even go further back to 2013, that's where we held support. And if you even go further back to 2012, that's where we were met with resistance. So we had resistance, support, resistance, resistance. And even dating back to this COVID period, this is when we had some resistance here before the COVID crash, right? And you can see that this level is so important in the wave trend. And even during this period of here, we had some also resistance and we had a breakthrough. So this level, we rallied all the way up to it coming out of our base. We've done that 2 other times, right? We did that in 2018. And we did that in 2015, where we came out of our green and rallied all the way up here, right? The problem with 2015 is that's when we were met with a wall and we had our subsequent crash down to retest our base, right? That's what happened in 2015. In 2018, it was a different story. We came up to this level in the wave trend and we just plowed through it like it didn't even exist, right? We didn't even pay attention to it. Now, here we are showing some early signs of rejection, right? So we're going to need to see how this plays out, but this is the make or break point for Bitcoin. Bitcoin, in every single bear market, it has a very large rally. That rally is the start of something very special. I believe Bitcoin just had that really large rally. And it's not even just believe it, it's just looking at the charts. It's very difficult to argue against it. Every single bear market, we have a very large rally, and is what really puts things in motion, right? So in 2015, this was the large rally. The large rally was a rally all the way up to this point here. But the problem is we were met with heavy resistance that Bitcoin wasn't ready to get through, and we crashed all the way down and we retested our base. When Bitcoin did that, everyone freaked out. They said we were going to fall all the way down here or even down here, but it never happened. That was a retest of our base, and bases are incredibly strong when they're built over months and months and months, and they have withstood the test of time. That made our next bull run incredibly healthy. So here we are. Bitcoin is at a standstill, and it's at a crossroads of the most critical cross in years of being at this 20 level with our wave trend that holds support and resistance dating back all the way to 2012. So what's going to happen with Bitcoin? What do I think is going to happen? Well, judging by some of the charts we showed in our previous video, you can see that we had a double top in the RSI on the weekly. We're showing weakness in price action with the 200-week moving average and the 50-week moving average. The 50-week is kind of pushing our head down, kind of sunning us. And we're also looking at the stochastic RSI showing some weakness, right? So those things are undeniable. So at that same critical pivot point, the wave trend is met with incredibly strong resistance as well. So can Bitcoin get the momentum to suddenly break through all of this? It's not looking likely at the moment. We need to see how it plays out. But again, the worst case scenario is we come down and retest our base. But the facts are still saying that that's a possibility. It's a legitimate possibility. The majority of the facts are streaming that Bitcoin will enter a bull run in 2023. Does that mean Bitcoin is going to double, triple, quadruple, 5x, 10x, 20x? No, that's not how bull runs work. Normally they start out very methodically and meticulously and getting to the next level of resistance and breaking through and holding that as support and getting to the next one and breaking through and holding that support. If you see it happen fast, it's going to be short-lived, plain and simple. Case in point, 2018. When we broke out of this base, we went all the way up here and we went from about 3K to 14, and it happened real quick. And it took us 1.5 years to recover from that. It was not sustainable. So if you see a fast move like that, watch the hell out, because it will end badly. And then it will take 1.5 years to recover, just like that. But if we build out of our base and we come and we retest our base and we slow methodical raises, getting up here, holding support, breaking through support, holding that as support, breaking through that support and holding that as support, and go methodically like that, it'll be a tremendous bull run. So that's the crossroads that Bitcoin is at. I do want to explain something at the end of the video about believing in yourself. This is a lesson to believe in yourself. I should have said this at the beginning of the video because this is a really powerful lesson. But believing in yourself is so important, and also trusting your instincts. I'll tell you a story. About 10 years ago, I entered Asia for the first time. I had never been to Asia. I had quite a bit of travel experience. Like, I'd been around Australia at the time. I'd been around Africa at the time. I had traveled through Europe already at that time, South America at that time, but I'd never been to Asia. So 10 years ago, I get to Asia. Now, the problem with me is I have a business mind and I can't turn it off. So when I get somewhere, I'm looking at things through the lens of like, oh my God, this is how the world operates here. Like, here's how things connect. This is how, okay. And then I start to get ideas and I can't turn it off. So I enter Asia, and right away I noticed, like, holy crap, everyone's wearing face masks. Like, what? I've never seen this in, the Western world. In Europe, I don't see this. South America, I didn't see this. My country, I never saw this. Africa, I didn't see it. Australia, I didn't see it. Keep in mind, this is 10 years ago. This is not COVID. This is way before COVID. I'm like, wow, this is really interesting. So I started to understand the culture and learn about it, and they've been doing it for, decades. It's been a part of their culture, is to wear a mask. And it was just this like plain Jane surgical mask. So Fast forward a couple months, I get to Hong Kong. At that point, I'd already met my wife, and I start to live in Hong Kong for a small period of time. And I noticed right away there's even more masks there. Keep in mind, this is 10 years ago. So I said to my wife, you know what? These are going to become fashionable. These masks things, it's not in my culture. It might be at some point, but it's definitely going to become fashionable here in Hong Kong and other parts of Asia. And she's like, you're crazy. That makes no sense. So I said, okay, I'm going to go out and ask everybody on the street. I'm going to ask them, would they like a fashionable mask? Because everyone's just wearing the surgical mask. And I interviewed like 50 people, and all of them were like, absolutely not. I would never wear a fashionable mask. And it just didn't make sense to me because it's not logical. Everything that we have on our body, at one point, it was just to serve a purpose. It wasn't fashionable. Case in point, shoes. When we developed shoes or sandals way back in the day, it was to make sure our feet weren't going to get stabbed by sticks and bitten by snakes. It wasn't to look cool. It wasn't fashionable. It was serving a purpose. This mask at this time was serving a purpose. It wasn't fashionable yet, but everything that we put on the human body starts for a purpose, and then over time it becomes fashionable. Our clothes to start were just to protect our skin from bugs and everything when we were living in the caves, and we needed some sort of clothes to protect our body, and then they became fashionable. Same with shoes. A watch. When a watch first came out, it was just to tell the time. Now they're fashionable. Everything we put on the body becomes fashionable, so it just didn't make sense to me how people couldn't see this. They didn't want to wear a fashionable mask. So I had too many other ideas at the time, but I don't know if it's lucky or not, but I didn't start this idea. I didn't start this company developing these masks, but I always knew that would be a thing. There was no doubt in my mind. I just didn't have enough passion for it. It wasn't like something I wanted to wear, so I didn't do it. Obviously, we had COVID, and obviously since then, masks have become phenomenally fashionable. And it's just it's a story of you got to trust your gut, right? And I'm happy I didn't go that direction. I would have been incredibly successful, but I wouldn't have gotten a chance to really make a dent in the crypto space because I would have been focused on the mask thing, and then the pandemic would have happened and the company would have exploded even tremendously more than it would have already. But there are so many mask companies now, and I would have just dominated the market because I can't turn off my brain. So it's just a point of trust yourself, trust your instincts, even if everyone on the street is telling you you're crazy and silly, which usually happens in mostly every single one of my chart predictions, is people still tell me I'm crazy and I don't know what I'm doing or whatever. But if you trust your gut, like I did in 2018 when we called the bottom of the market, we called the bottom of the market, they told us we were crazy. We called the top of the 14K, they told us the same thing. They've been telling me this for my whole life because I really go against the grain. When everyone goes left, I go right. It's how I think, it's how I operate, it's how I live. And trust your gut, trust your instincts, even when everyone tells you that you're absolutely silly. I'll leave you on that note. Let me know if this story resonated with you. Maybe you had a situation where people doubted you and they doubted your ideas, and then you persevered because you believed in it. Let me know in the comments down below. Peace and love to the fellow underdogs. Do you want to know when to buy and when to sell? Click this video right now.